Good morning, dear pupils. How are you today? I hope you are fine. It is the English lesson. Let's start. Доброе утро, уважаемые учащиеся. Урок английского языка. Давайте начнем. Прежде чем мы с вами начнем новую тему, посмотрите внимательно на данные сокращения и попробуйте угадать слова. Look and name these words. Okay, let's check. How are you today, brother, you, boyfriend, great, later? Данные сокращения у нас применяются, когда мы с вами записываем смс-сообщения мобильные. То есть вы можете использовать данный вид письменности. Okay, now let's remember some lexics from previous lessons. Давайте вспомним лексику из предыдущих уроков. Communication. What is communication? Правильно, общение, коммуникация. Virtual. Виртуальный. Virtual friends. Виртуальные друзья. Face to face. Лицом к лицу, вживую. To post. Выкладывать. Language. Язык. Digital generation. Цифровое поколение. Social network sites. Социальные сети. Well done. Let's go further. The topic of our lesson is early written communication. And let's watch the piece of video. Тема нашего урока – раннее древнее общение. Давайте сначала посмотрим с вами видео.
Ever since people have been communicating, they've been wanting to figure out better ways to do so. Our ancestors first practiced making pictures on the sides of caves and mountains. They carved pictures into the rock using sticks and bones, or dyed the rocks with plants. Eventually, these pictures would turn into letters, but it would take a long time for that change. In 3100 BC, the Sumerians created one of the first written languages called cuneiform. This language used pictures to reference sounds that they would make. It's like how in our language the H gives you that sound, and that plus, A, and T all combine to create the word hat. The Sumerians didn't have paper, so instead they carved the words into clay tablets. 100 years later, the Egyptians also started making a written language called hieroglyphics. They used pictures to take the place of entire words, and sometimes they would mix multiple pictures to create single larger words. In the Indus Valley, the people who lived there created a language a lot like the Sumerians. The year was 2750 BC. There's one big problem with this language. We don't know what the writers were trying to say. We found pots with this writing on them, but we can't read them. Almost 1,000 years after the Indus Valley in China, the Shang dynasty created their own picture writing. It was in the year 2000 BC, and the people of China were using writing on what's called oracle bones. Oracle bones were special tools that the people who lived back then thought would help them tell the future. Not only did they use this writing to try and predict the future, but they also started using this writing to keep track of money and their possessions. All over the world, different cultures were trying to figure out better ways to communicate with each other. Isn't it interesting that they all decided that writing was one of the best ways to do so? Do you think writing today, like on the internet, is just as important to preserve language and communicate as these ancient writings were?
The objectives of our lesson are to learn the information about the early communication, learn new words, read and do the tasks. Okay, it's time to learn some new words. Listen, then repeat. Ancestor, ancestor, предок. To remain, оставаться. Existence, existence, существование. Logographic, logographic, логографический. Hieroglyphics, hieroglyphics, иероглифическое письмо. To carve, вырезать, высекать. Hieratic, hieratic, священный. Demotic, demotic, народный, демократическое письмо. Papyrus, papyrus, папирус. Alphabet, alphabet, алфавит. Now it's your turn. Теперь вы. Thank you. Look at the pictures and name the word. Посмотрите на картинки, назовите их слово. Picture 1. What is it? Ancestor. Picture 2. Hieroglyphics. Picture 3. To carve. Picture 4. Hieratic. Picture 5. Papyrus. Picture 6. Alphabet. Great. Let's continue our work. Exercise 1, page 26. Answer the questions. Open your textbooks at page 26 and look at exercise 1. Откройте ваши учебники на странице 26, упражнение 1. Здесь нужно ответить на вопросы. Question 1. When did people start writing? Первый вопрос. Когда люди начали писать? Answer. It was about 6,000 years ago when Homo sapiens appeared and people started writing. 6,000 лет назад, когда появились Homo sapiens, люди начали письменность. Question 2. How did the ancient Egyptians write? Второй вопрос. Как писали древние египтяне? Answer. The ancient Egyptians either carved or painted hieroglyphs on stone. Древние египтяне или высекали, или рисовали иероглифы на камнях. Question 3. Where does the word alphabet come from? Откуда пришло слово алфавит? Answer. The word alphabet comes from the first two Greek letters, alpha and beta. Слово алфавит произошло от двух первых греческих букв альфа и бета. Great. Now, next task is exercise 2, page 26. Listen to the text. Упражнение 2 на странице 26. Посмотрите, прослушайте текст.
CD1. Track 14. Listen and check.
Early written communication. Our earliest human ancestors first stood on two legs around 6 million years ago. But it was the ability to share information which set our ancestors apart from the rest of the animals. Communication remained very limited until our closest ancestor, Homo erectus, appeared about 1.8 million years ago. But it was only 6,000 years ago, with Homo sapiens, that any form of writing came into existence. The earliest forms of writing were logographic and used symbols, logograms, to represent things. The most famous of these old forms of writing is hieroglyphics. The ancient Egyptians either carved or painted hieroglyphs on stone. However, they also had two other forms of writing called hieratic and demotic. They wrote onto papyrus, a form of paper, or cloth with ink or paint. We know a lot about hieroglyphic writing because of the Rosetta Stone. This is an ancient stone slab with the same message written in hieroglyphics, demotic, and ancient Greek. Alphabetic writing systems use marks which represent sounds. Ancient Greek was the first complete alphabet and represented both consonant and vowel sounds. In fact, the word alphabet comes from the first two Greek letters, alpha and beta. It was a unique invention, and many different languages now use some form of complete alphabet. English uses the Roman alphabet, which the Romans adapted from the ancient Greek.
Practical tasks. 1. Exercise 3, page 26. Read the text again, answer the questions. Практические задания. Страница 26, упражнение 3. Прочитайте текст еще раз. Ответьте на вопрос. 2. Make 5 sentences with new words and write. Составьте 5 предложений с новыми словами и запишите. Ваши учебные задания выполнены. Прикрепите и отправьте на проверку учителю. Thank you for your attention. The lesson is over. Goodbye.